It's the groundnut storage season, and in today's video I'll be sharing with you all you need to know to begin storing and making money from groundnut storage. All right, all free. And I'm going to be sharing with you based on my own personal experiences, what I did last time, some of the lessons I learned, and also be letting you know if you should store groundnut this year or don't store. All right, based on our experiences last year. In case you're new here, my name is David, and on this channel I share with you my agro investment journey so that you can learn and be able to do the same thing I'm doing. All right, if you check the channel, you'll see a lot of valuable content I've created over time. You can watch them, you can learn a lot and all of that. In case you're new here and you don't know what agro storage business is, it's very simple. It's about buying agro produce when it is harvest period in abundance and cheaper, store it for a period of time, and then resell it when it has gone off season, and that time you make a little bit of money from what you bought it. All right, and you can also make a lot of money. It depends on how many bags you're able to buy and store. Now, the little details on each of the agro produce, whether it's egusi, whether it's groundnut, whether it's pepper, whatever it is, I have shared over time on the channel, so do check them and you learn. If you also want to buy my ebook, I've written an ebook regarding this. Also provided valuable contact of people in the market you can actually work with to buy and to sell without you visiting those places. So whether you're in Lagos and you want to buy and sell in Nasarawa, you can do that by just calling those contacts and working with them. Now, most importantly, we have just also opened up our agro investment storage portfolio for groundnut. So if you want to invest with us to buy and store and resell for groundnut, please check the number on your screen, send us a WhatsApp message, and then we'll work with you. So today I'll be sharing with you groundnut storage. First of all, this is the season to store groundnut right now. Groundnut have been out 2 months now, and now groundnut is most of the groundnut having harvested is dry, so it's the right time to buy and store. All right, you cannot buy and store when it just came out, because that means you'll be running at loss. So now groundnut is dry, so this is the right time to buy and store. Okay, now having said this is the right time to buy and store, how do you go about it? Now, previously last season, what we did is that we bought and sold our own groundnut in Katsina-Ala in Benue State. But there was also a problem in Katsina-Ala, Benue State. Most of the groundnut that were stored there had a challenge because there was this pest and insect attack, and most of the groundnut got spoiled or was getting spoiled. Some people have to do a quick rush to sell off their goods and all of that, so the profit wasn't much. In fact, even many others even ran at loss. Okay, so this year I'll be changing my strategy, and that I'll be talking to you in this video as well. So first of all, you need to identify the market you want to buy and you want to sell. So like I said, you can buy and store your groundnut in Katsina-Ala. You can buy and store your groundnut in that's for Benue, so I'll give you 2 markets. You can buy and store your groundnut in Katsina-Ala. You can buy and store your groundnut in Zakibiam. Zakibiam, yes, is the largest yam market in West Africa or in Nigeria, but you can store a lot of groundnut there too. So those are the 2 markets. In fact, Zakibiam, groundnut you buy in Zakibiam are cheaper than the one you buy in Katsina-Ala. So you can store your groundnut in those 2 places. In Nasarawa, you can store your groundnut in Doma. You can store your groundnut in Nasarawa Market. All of those places also you store your groundnut. In the past, we always stored in Katsina-Ala. All right. But I said this year I'm changing strategy because of what has happened last year. So first of all, that's the first secret to the business. Identify your market. I've given you the market, whether it's in Benue or Nasarawa. I've given you the market. So all you need to do is to visit and then buy and store. Now, second point you need to know, there are different types of groundnuts. Okay, for instance, in Katsina-Ala, they have about 3 different versions of groundnut. They have this agric version, they have the native one, they have the other one as well. There are about 3 different versions of groundnut, so you need to identify the one that people mostly buy. So if you're going to do the business, first identify the one that people mostly buy, and then buy that one and store, so that when it's time for resale, it's easier for you to resell. I hope it makes sense. So that's the second thing you need to identify what you want to buy and resell. And then, like I said, ask questions. Make sure you're buying what people normally buy or buy more. So that's the one you should buy and store and then resell. And then thirdly, groundnut is sold in different bags. So depending on where you're buying, the bags will be different. For instance, if you are buying in, let's say, Nasarawa market where we bought our egusi, they have about 3 different bags that they buy, and sell this groundnut. So you have to know the one that is more in demand, and then you buy. So they have the normal bag that they bring it from the bush. They have the ones that the smaller bag, and they have the one that they shake. For those of you who have been following our channel, for instance, when we bought the egusi, we bought the one that they shaked, not the one they bought from the market, from their farms into the market. All right. So, but for groundnut, you also have to identify which one is currently selling and which one you're buying. All right. If you follow this channel, it will also show a video of how we are buying the ones we bought. You can see that. So, what is the profit margin that you can actually make from this business if you want to make if you want to store groundnut? Now, as of last year, the profit margin was between 15% up to 50%, even more than 50%, depending on where you stored actually. But like I said, those of us who stored in Katsina Alam, it was between 15% and say like 20-25%, and some also ran lost, depending on how much your goods was attacked and what you're able to sell or not sell. The demand for groundnut is not as high as the demand for egusi, because like egusi, we eat egusi, we export egusi, we do. Yes, groundnut, they can do groundnut with groundnut oil and the rest, but most people go with vegetable oil these days than groundnut oil. All right, and so most of the demands for groundnut, especially locally, is mostly people who make kuli and the rest of them all. So I'm saying that to say the demand for groundnut is not very, very high. And so when it comes to resell, you might have to do a lot of work to resell, all right? Or you may not have a lot of buyers as you would have with egusi, okay? Why am I mentioning the egusi? Because that is the 2 businesses that we have been doing, okay? We just finished buying and storing egusi, and we had a lot of investors who invested into it, and we bought and then stored for them. So in case you didn't know, we run an agro investment portfolio where investors can actually give us money, we can buy and store for them, and then they can get return on investment in 6 months. Now, if you want more details, just send the message to us on WhatsApp on the screen. Okay. Now, I'm saying this to say groundnut return on investment is not that high. Sometimes it can go high because this market, it all depends, all right? A lot of market dynamics that play. But if you're going to do it, just expect a profit margin of 15% upward. Okay. Upward means it can hit any ceiling. So whether you move from 50% up to 100%, praise God. Okay. But 15%, that is at 15, 20, 25%. It is. So for us that do the business, for instance, profit projection is 15 to 35%. That is it. If we hit that, we sell off. If we look at it, that we can still go further to 40% or 50% of our investment, we hit that, we sell off, and we move on. All right. Like I said, remember, selling off what you buy is is where the challenge is, because buyers is not as you don't have much buyers as you have like in other produce like egusi. Of course, you have buyers. I'm just saying in comparison. Okay. Even if I store right now, even if I store 3,000 bags of egusi, I will have no worry, because I know there will always be buyers and will be able to sell them. But if I store 1,000 bags of groundnut, I will be worried. I will be, not necessarily why I don't worry, but I would be concerned or more focused to find a way to make sure that I sell off this groundnut. All right. So I have to figure out ways to make sure I sell them off. Either I sell them off as it is, or I sell them off at a different time. Are we going to buy and store groundnut this year? Yes, we are going to buy, store, and resell groundnut this year. And I have told you guys where we normally buy, so you can also do that. But this year, I'm not sure I'll be buying and storing groundnut in Katsina again. But of course, it doesn't mean you cannot buy and store there. You can buy and store there. You can also buy and store in Zakibia, in Nasarawa, or in Doma, any of these places I've mentioned. So I'll be picking 2 of those markets, buying, and I'll be storing there. I'm not going to tell you which one specifically, okay, but I've given you 4 markets. So you go work with the 4 markets, all right? And I've told you the profit margin projection that I have in mind, what to do and all of that, so you can do that. But again, remember, this storage business also has risk factors. For instance, people will bought and stored a lot of commodities last year, whether it was guinea corn, whether it was rice, other stuff. They actually ran at loss, huge loss actually. They lost a lot of money. So when you also go into this business, go into it with some caution, go into it with some understanding that there are risks involved. Just that I have painted a good picture for you doesn't mean that you're just going to go in and make a kill. You might go in and make a kill more than I have painted. You might also go in and don't make any kill and be killed. But that wouldn't be your portion, okay? So you might go in and also lose. So, but this is the business. All right, so that being said, I don't think there's any other details that I haven't shared with you here. If you want to do it, so that is it. I will try to answer any question you drop on the comment section. I'll try to answer that. Okay, if you want, you can join our WhatsApp group. And WhatsApp group, I provide market alerts of what is being sold in the market, the cost, and all of that. So if you join, you'll get daily market alert of what is going on. All right. So check the description, you'll find it. If you want to buy our ebook, check the description, you'll find it there. As of now, depending on where you are buying, bag of groundnut is between 35,000 naira to 60,000 naira, depending on the bag. All right. There are bags that are selling for 35,000 naira. There are bags that are selling for 55,000 naira. There are bags that are selling for 65,000 naira. And the projection is when you buy these things, you should be able to sell at 15% profit margin minimum, at least 15% profit margin minimum. So you can make 15%, you can make 20%, you can make 30%. It's also possible you may not make money, you may lose money, and groundnut will fall, as many other things as falling. These things are reality that you have to live with. All right. So if you want to invest with us, you don't have to crack your head about market falling or not falling. We give you guaranteed return on investment when you invest with us. All right. And we have always two models to work with. We have one model that's a guaranteed return on investment. We have another model where we share the profits, but there are no guarantees of return on investment. So whichever model you want to work with us, send us a message on WhatsApp, and then we'll send you the details. For those of you who have already invested in the egusi, you can still invest in groundnut this time, but we have just 2 weeks. Sorry that the notice is not that long, or just 2 weeks notice. This is because I was contemplating whether we should really invest or store groundnut this year or not, based on 3 main reasons. The first reason being that last year experience wasn't the best of experience because of the insect attack and also the fall of commodities, so the profits wasn't what we expected, and in fact there was also loss at some point. And then secondly, why I was also a bit hesitant is because of a lot of the market dynamics have changed. So a lot of agro commodities didn't really do well. So I wanted to be sure that yes, we can go ahead with this groundnut or not. So that's why we are checking the market and checking. And right now we are sure, and yes, and so that's why we are doing this. And then, like I said, yes, we've also changed our market tactics. Like for instance, I've told you we won't be storing the same place again. We are storing in different place. And then the other things also we are checking that I haven't said on this video. The third point is, like I've said, the demand for groundnut is not as high as the demand for egusi. So when you buy a lot of groundnut and store them, you also have to be keen on how you're going to sell them and sell them off in good time, in record time, to make your profit and all of that. So these are the 3 things you have to deal with. The risk factor is a little bit much. In terms of sell, it's a little bit much higher than egusi. All right. 2 weeks ago, someone coming from the US and was trying to find out a little bit about this egusi and all of that. We got talking, and then the person told me that he has already invested in groundnut and they've already stored it. I was trying to find out details, but from the way the person was talking, I wasn't very sure. But he said he has bought and stored groundnut. So make sure that your groundnut you're buying and storing, they are dry. If not, you run into problems. So again, for us, that is why we waited till now before we are opening it up to buy, to make sure that most of the groundnut are dry, even though we're still going to go to the market and check and make sure they are properly dry before we store. Of course, you guys know I always put up the video for you to see. Okay, so I check them by myself. I don't even send staffs. I do the work myself, and then make sure I do the due diligence. And once the due diligence are done, I've established all the operating procedure, then of course my colleagues, my staff can continue from there, from where I've stopped. All right, so it's important that you make sure that these things are checked before you store. All right, so these are all the informations I have for you today. All right, so thank you so much for watching this video, and check out other content we have on the video. Drop your questions, and I'll see you guys on the very next one. Okay.